Have you ever found yourself wondering if she's secretly smitten, but too coy to spell it out? Let's face it, most women aren't about to stroll up and declare, "I like you," in bright neon letters. Instead, they slip their growing feelings into subtler hints, sometimes so subtle you'd miss them if you blink. Yet, when she's warming up to you, her words tend to carry these delightful hidden clues. Today, we're uncovering 6 key things she might say that signal her growing emotions. Stick around, because this is more than just a plain old list. It's your treasure map for deciphering the psychological undercurrents that tip you off to her building affection. Relationships can be a puzzle, and one poorly read signal can sink a blossoming connection faster than you can say, "Wait, was that a sign?" I've seen too many folks look back on a near miss and say, "If only I'd realized." But let's be clear. This isn't about playing mind reader or dissecting her every syllable. It's about recognizing the genuine sentiment lurking behind her casual chatter. Each of these 6 phrases points to an emotional turning point, whether it's a sense of comfort, respect for your opinion, or a desire to weave you into her world. The bonus? We'll also tell you how to respond in a way that not only acknowledges her feelings, but deepens the bond between you. So, picture this. She drops a subtle line about wanting to see what you think of some new restaurant, or confesses you're the first person she's called after a long day. These small admissions are the stepping stones of attraction. By understanding them, you're not just saving yourself from confusion, you're laying the foundation for a richer connection. If you're ready to grasp the psychology behind her words and elevate your relationships, come along. We'll break down each phrase and show you the path toward a conversation that's more than just pleasant. It's the kind that leaves you both feeling truly seen and understood. Let's dive in, shall we? Before we venture into those 6 magic phrases, let's spare a moment to understand why women don't usually march right up and declare, "I fancy you," at the top of their lungs. And believe me, this backstory is every bit as crucial as the phrases themselves. First off, there's that little spectre called fear of rejection. Nobody, not even the most confident soul, enjoys baring their heart and risking the sting of being turned down. It's easier to float gentle hints, like small buoys, seeing if you'll keep them afloat with genuine interest or let them drift away unacknowledged. Think of it as tiptoeing into a chilly lake rather than cannonballing straight in. Then we must tip our hats to cultural expectation. In many corners of the world, even now, women grow up hearing they should let the man make the first move. Times may be changing, but those echoes still linger. Subtle cues strike a balance, letting you know there's interest without trampling on tradition, or at least not entirely. And last but not least, consider emotional vulnerability. Real trust can't be rushed, and bearing one's feelings is a leap of faith. Subtlety, in this case, is like a half-open door. It welcomes you to peek inside, but it doesn't fling the door wide open just yet. Only when she feels it's safe to lower her guard will you truly see what's in her heart. Until then, a quiet hint is all she needs to see if you'll step forward or step aside. Now, let's venture into the heart of our journey. The 6 phrases women often say when they're quietly developing feelings for you. Each phrase is less about the words themselves and more about the emotional resonance behind them. Let's begin with the first. Phrase 1. What do you think about? Now, you might hear this and assume she's simply making small talk. not so fast. When a woman asks, "What do you think about?" Be it a new movie, a life decision, or even a random article she read, she's testing the waters to see if your viewpoints align with hers. Think of it as a quiet probe into whether your inner world meshes well with hers. Psychologically, it's no secret that shared values and perspectives lay the groundwork for a deeper bond. She's not merely hunting for an expert opinion or a step-by-step tutorial. She wants to see if you're the kind of person who'd understand her worldview. By asking for your take, she's opening a door to see if you'll step through it with curiosity and respect. Why does this matter? From a psychology standpoint, alignment in values is vital for long-term harmony. When she invites you into that realm, her thoughts and musings, she's gauging not just your knowledge, but also your empathy and willingness to listen. How should you respond? First, listen. Truly listen. Not the uh-huh kind of listening, but the kind where you're absorbing her words. Then, offer your genuine perspective. Even if you disagree, do it with grace. Something along the lines of, "That's an interesting point. I see it a bit differently. But I'd love to hear more about why you feel that way." Can speak volumes. It shows you aren't just tossing out an answer, you're welcoming a shared conversation. That, my friend, is what tugs at her heartstrings. The sense that you value her opinions and want to understand her world. If you handle this with genuine curiosity rather than merely nodding, you'll find she's more than eager to keep talking and to keep letting you in. Phrase 2. You're so different from other guys. Ah, the golden phrase that lights up like a marquee in the theater of her emotions. When she says, "You're so different from other guys," she's not just handing out a generic compliment. No, sir. This is her way of putting you in a category all your own, a rare gem in a world full of costume jewelry. What does this really mean? Well, psychologists call it the halo effect. When someone admires you, they don't just stop at one quality. They start attributing a whole host of virtues to you, whether you've earned them all or not. By saying this, she's essentially highlighting your uniqueness, your way of standing out in a crowd of cookie-cutter men. Maybe it's your confidence, your humor, or the way you treat her like an equal rather than a conquest. Whatever it is, you've piqued her interest and she's taking notice. How should you respond? Here's where the magic lies. Accept the compliment, but don't turn it into a victory parade. A modest response shows you're confident without being arrogant. Try something like, "That's kind of you to say. I just try to be myself." Then flip the spotlight back to her with a question. "What makes you say that?" This keeps the conversation flowing and shows genuine curiosity about her perspective. It's a subtle way of deepening the connection without breaking into a self-congratulatory monologue. Phrase 3. I feel safe when I'm with you. This one, my friend, is a game changer. When a woman says, "I feel safe when I'm with you," she's not just commenting on your ability to walk her through dark alleys. She's opening up about an emotional sanctuary you've created, a place where she feels secure enough to lower her defenses. Why does this matter? On a biological level, safety triggers the release of oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. It's what helps people feel connected and trusting. On an emotional level, it means she sees you as a steady anchor in the unpredictable seas of life. She trusts you enough to be herself, unfiltered and vulnerable, a level of connection that goes far beyond surface attraction. How do you nurture this feeling? Consistency is key. Keep showing her that you're reliable, empathetic, and genuinely invested in her well-being. When she says she feels safe with you, acknowledge it in a way that reinforces her trust. Try responding with something like, "That really means a lot to me. I always wanted you to feel that way." Simple, sincere, and incredibly impactful. This isn't about trying to fix her problems or be her knight in shining armor. It's about being present and dependable, showing her that she can count on you without question. And let me tell you, when you master this, you're no longer just a man in her life. You're the man she can't imagine life without. Phrase 4. I was thinking about what you said. There it is. The phrase that should make you sit up a little straighter. When a woman says, "I was thinking about what you said," she's not just making conversation. She's handing you a compliment wrapped in curiosity. This means your words didn't just vanish into the ether. They lingered, took root, and made an impression. Why does this matter? On a psychological level, it's a sign of intellectual compatibility, one of the pillars of emotional connection. It shows that she values your opinions, that your perspective is more than just noise in a sea of chatter. To her, you're someone worth pondering, someone whose thoughts resonate beyond the moment. How should you respond? First, recognize the weight of what she's doing. She's inviting you to deepen the conversation, to explore a topic she finds meaningful. Acknowledge her thoughtfulness with something like, "I'm glad that stuck with you. What were your thoughts about it?" This response isn't just polite, it shows genuine interest in her interpretation. By inviting her to share more, you're building a bridge of mutual respect and understanding. This isn't the time to dismiss her comment or brush it off with a joke. Treat it as the rare gem it is, a chance to strengthen your connection by showing her that her reflections, and by extension, her feelings, matter to you. Phrase 5. I told my friend about you. Now this, my friend, is a game changer. When she mentions casually, or not so casually, that you've been the topic of conversation with her friends, she's essentially telling you, "You're important enough to be part of my world." Why is this significant? Here's the deal. For many women, their friends are their emotional board of directors. By sharing stories about you, she's not just talking, she's seeking validation, and perhaps even a subtle endorsement. It's her way of folding you into the fabric of her life, one thread at a time. How should you respond? Don't let this moment slip by. Play it light, but acknowledge the underlying sentiment. A line like, "Really? I hope I got a glowing review," keeps it playful while showing you're flattered. Follow it up with, "What did you tell them?" This not only keeps the mood fun, but also encourages her to share more about how she feels. By responding with curiosity and a touch of humor, you're reinforcing her decision to let you into her social sphere. It's a small but significant victory in the game of connection, and one that hints at a deeper emotional investment on her part. Phrase 6. I really appreciate you. The golden words. I really appreciate you. They may sound simple, but don't let their modesty fool you. When she says this, it's not just politeness. It's a heartfelt acknowledgement that you've become a meaningful part of her life. It's less about the things you've done, and more about who you've shown yourself to be. Why is gratitude so powerful in relationships? Because it's a currency of the heart. When someone expresses genuine gratitude, it's their way of saying, You make my world better. Psychologists will tell you that gratitude fosters trust, emotional intimacy, and mutual respect, all essential ingredients for a connection that lasts. How do you respond? With a touch of sincerity and a dash of specificity. Say something like, "That truly means a lot to me. I really appreciate you too, especially for," insert a quality or action unique to her. For example, highlight how much you value her kindness, her sense of humor, or her ability to make you feel understood. This not only shows her that you're genuinely moved, but also lets her know that you see her for who she is, not just what she does. It's a moment to exchange gratitude like two traders in the marketplace of affection, leaving both of you richer for it. When she says she appreciates you, she's opening a door. Step through it with care, and you'll find a deeper connection waiting on the other side. Let's talk about this. What to do when you notice these signs. So, you've picked up on the signals, those little breadcrumbs of affection she's been dropping your way. Maybe she's sharing her feelings, maybe she's showing an interest that feels a touch deeper than casual. Now comes the pivotal moment. What you do next. This, my friend, is where the rubber meets the romantic road, and how you navigate can mean the difference between building a connection or letting it slip through your fingers like water. Step 1. Acknowledge her feelings. When a woman opens up, even subtly, it's no small feat. Society doesn't exactly encourage vulnerability, and yet here she is, putting herself out there. The least you can do? Meet her halfway. Be genuine, be thoughtful, and for heaven's sake, be respectful. If she says, "I feel safe with you," don't just grunt and nod. Respond with something meaningful. That means the world to me. I want to make sure you always feel that way. These words aren't just a reply, they're a reassurance, a signal that her trust is well placed. But, and this is key, don't overdo it. She's not asking for an operatic declaration of love. Balance is your best friend here. Be calm, be collected, and let the connection feel natural. Remember, it's not about filling the silence with flowery prose. It's about making her feel heard and valued. Step 2. Build the connection. Now that she's opened the door a little wider, it's your turn to step through. Use this opportunity to deepen the bond. Share your own thoughts, spend meaningful time together, and most importantly, be consistent. Reliability is the cornerstone of trust, and trust is the soil in which connection grows. Here's a golden rule. Avoid extremes. Don't rush in like a runaway freight train, smothering her with plans for the future. Nor should you retreat into aloofness like some caricature of mystery. Both approaches are sure to backfire. Instead, be authentic. Stay present, respond to her needs, and let the relationship unfold at its own pace. Trust me, there's no shortcut to something real. 3 common mistakes and how to dodge them. Even when the signs are practically neon, men have a knack for tripping over their own shoelaces. Let's talk about the pitfalls and how to sidestep them gracefully. Mistake number 1. Overanalyzing her words. Here's the thing about overthinking. It's a surefire way to turn a budding connection into a Rubik's Cube of unnecessary complexity. If you find yourself dissecting her every sentence like it's a literary masterpiece, stop. Step back. Look at the bigger picture. Is she opening up? Does she seem genuinely interested? Those are the markers that matter. Relax, trust your instincts, and let things flow. Mistake number 2. Reacting too strongly. Excitement is natural, but there's a fine line between enthusiasm and scaring the daylights out of her. When she drops a subtle hint, resist the urge to respond with something over the top, like, "This is the moment I've waited my whole life for." Take it easy. Keep things light and playful. Sometimes the best response isn't words, it's a knowing smile or a thoughtful gesture. Mistake number 3, taking her feelings for granted. Here's where a lot of guys drop the ball. Just because she's expressed her feelings doesn't mean your work is done. Relationships are like gardens. They require ongoing care and attention. If you start coasting, she'll notice, and trust me, that's not a good thing. Show her that you value her by continuing to invest in the relationship. Keep the spark alive with your actions, words, and effort. At the end of the day, understanding her signs is just the first chapter. The real story begins with how you respond. Acknowledge her feelings with grace, build the connection with intention, and avoid the classic blunders. Do this, and you'll not only understand her better, you'll create a bond that stands the test of time. Now, go forth, armed with wit, wisdom, and a dash of charm. The rest, as they say, is up to you. And there you have it, 6 phrases that whisper what words don't dare to shout. If you've been paying attention, you'll realize that understanding a woman's feelings isn't about decoding some impossible enigma. It's about listening, observing, and responding with genuine care. Each phrase we've explored is like a small, unpolished gem, revealing layers of her emotions when you take the time to notice. The heart of this lesson: connection isn't built on grand gestures or rehearsed lines. It's woven through the quiet moments, the honest conversations, and the spaces where trust grows naturally. Now, here's the challenge for you. Go out there and practice this art of listening. Pay attention to the subtle cues, respond with authenticity, and watch as your relationships transform. If this video struck a chord, show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your journey into deeper connections is just beginning, and I'd be honored to walk it with you.